Hello, and welcome to Filmsquatch, the podcast where two guys from the Deep South watch and review movies about Bigfoot. It's that simple. Each episode takes a look at a single film about a Sasquatch or a Yeti, and the guys break it down for you. Patrick and Kendall are true believers, but they're too old, too fat, and too lazy to get up off their sofas and go hunt for a Sasquatch themselves. So they just sit back and watch movies about them. Now, let's head over to the Filmsquatch screening room, where Patrick and Kendall are ready to discuss their latest film.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Filmsquatch. You're listening to yours truly, Kendall Fontenot, and with me, as always, is the man with the plan, Mr. Patrick Bennett. How you doing, Patrick?
Doing good, Kendall. What we got tonight, man?
Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a movie that is in the View Askew-niverse. Kevin Smith fans know exactly what I'm talking about. Some Kevin Smith fans may be surprised that we're talking about a Kevin Smith project here. This is Drawing Flies from 1996, and technically it's not a Kevin Smith project, but it does take place in his universe. It's a film directed by two guys, directed and written by two gentlemen, and let me get their names here. Matthew Gissing, I'm assuming that's how you say it, and Malcolm Ingram. And this movie stars Jason Lee and Renee Humphrey, Jay Muse, Carmen Llewellyn, and Martin Brooks. And it's got a few other familiar faces from the Kevin Smith films, all of the Clerks movies, the Jay and Silent Bob movie, basically any film Kevin Smith had a hand in. There's probably someone from that movie in this one. Well, Patrick, can you give us a brief rundown on Drawing Flies?
Man, Drawing Flies is pretty much a stoner movie. And
it's pretty much every Kevin
It's
Smith
shot in black and white. And like you were saying, it's got a lot of Kevin Smith's alumni in it. And Kevin Smith did actually produce the film. He's one of the producers.
Right.
But you were talking about all the actors. Yeah, a lot of the Kevin Smith palette of actors there make some appearances. I know, like you said, Jason Lee stars in it. Also saw, Jason Muse, but Joey Lauren Adams from, what was that movie, Chasing Amy? And
yep,
she was in another
Chasing Amy, Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Other folks might remember her from Dazed and Confused, not in Kevin Smith's universe.
Kevin Smith himself even has a cameo in it, and he's dressed as Silent Bob, and I thought that was pretty cool because with Jason Muse in here, it's basically a Jay and Silent Bob Bigfoot movie.
Yeah, but Jay Muse plays a character named Az. I'm assuming Az is short for something. It's spelled A-Z, maybe so. And then you mentioned Joey Lauren Adams, but fans of Mallrats will also recognize Renee Humphrey, who plays Meg in this movie. She was Trish the Dish in Mallrats. Matter of fact, there are a lot of people from Mallrats that are in this movie because they were shot roughly around the same time, except this is Jason Lee's first starring role, although I could kind of consider him a co-star.
Didn't you tell me
Mallrats?
Didn't you tell me they borrowed the cameras that they were using on Mallrats
it was
and went off and shot?
Oh, no. It was the camera from Clerks. And the and parts of the cast from Mallrats that they used to shoot this film. Kevin Smith met Matt Gissing and Malcolm Ingram, and they hopped on over to Canada and shot this movie on the cheap. It only cost them $40,000 to shoot the film, and it is basically, like you said, just a stoner movie. These kids are out of money. And Jason Lee's character, Donner, which anytime I heard Donner, all I could think was Donner Blitzen, the reindeer.
Oh,
but Donner,
the Donner Party.
or yeah, the Donner Party did also. And while they're well, Donner comes up with this plan to go find Bigfoot, and so he can become rich off of Bigfoot, and he doesn't have to go to the unemployment office to get a check. And yeah, whenever they're out there traveling in the woods, I'm thinking this is the Donner Party. I thought that too, but yeah, they go out in the woods, but Donner doesn't tell them why they're going in the woods. He says they're going to his uncle's cabin. It's supposed to be this cool cabin out in the middle of nowhere where they can just chill out, smoke weed, and have a good time. And it's all a ruse to get them to help him find Bigfoot. And then hilarity kind of sort of ensues. What did you think of this movie's? Well, let's just say let's just go do the hit list. What did you think of the cast, the acting?
Man, I like the cast, and I liked that it was the like we were talking about. It's the alumni from Kevin Smith's films. I like that. I also liked. I don't know the guy's name, but he had a cameo in here. He played Jason Lee's brother on Everybody. What's the show about Earl?
My Name is Earl.
My Name is Earl. So you kind of have like
the big guy,
two casts, the brothers from
that's
that TV series in here. But
that's Ethan Suplee.
I enjoyed the cast. I enjoyed all the cameos that would pop up. I thought it was pretty good. The one thing, my review and your review, I got a feeling that they're going to be totally different because this was from a generation after me. The people who love Kevin Smith's movies came after the period I grew up, watching my stuff was Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all that. Then Kevin Smith came out after I was, a lot older through my high school years, already married and all that. So I didn't follow his work as much as I did stuff like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and people like that.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling that we're going to be totally different on this film.
Yeah. Well, and I'm kind of, I was kind of growing up during the bridge between like the Spielberg movies and Joe Dante's Bigger Pictures and all that into the Kevin Smith era and the 90s films like Reality Bites and all that kind of stuff. Those types of films. So I Married an Axe Murderer and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, for me, I mean, the acting was okay. Jason Lee and Jay Muse especially has gotten a lot better from this film. I mean, it's not a big jump for him to be Jay in every Jay and Silent Bob film, but I think this movie, if you watch it, you see how he's grown as an actor, and then when you see him outside of this film in real life, you see interviews with him, he's matured as a person. But this movie for me was more of a nostalgia kick than anything because it was shot with the Clerks camera. When I saw all these actors, even though they were playing different characters from the characters they played in Clerks and in Mallrats, it started bringing back a bunch of memories and like them going to parties. I remember doing that when I was in college, just going to random parties. It just brought back a lot of memories for me, and I think that probably is going to make me enjoy it more than you did. Something tells me you were bored out of your brain watching this movie. But yeah, I thought that the acting was good. It could have been better. It was cool for me to see all these guys that played characters that I've watched plenty of times. I mean, I've seen almost, not all of them, but almost all of the View Askew universe movies. I think Kevin Smith has gotten to the point where he's resting on his laurels now. And he just cranks out a movie with the same characters in it, and everybody's like, "Oh, look, there's Jay. Oh, look, there's Silent Bob. Oh, Ben Affleck. He worked at the Fashionable Mail in the mall." That kind of stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about the cinematography.
All right, go ahead.
To me, it looked like a film shot by a college kid in the 90s. trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I got from this movie. There's nothing outstanding about any of the shots. It's all pretty basic establishing shots. Then you have, a few scenes where just, a two-man shot, and then you've got trees here and there. I did like the opening where they're just the trees. They're just panning through the trees, and you hear Jason Lee talking over the panning images. I thought that looked good. It's shot in black and white. I love black and white
I
movies.
like the choice they made with going black and white. That was cool.
But the black and white movies I like are pre-1940 type black and white movies. I thought this.
You didn't watch Mad Max Black and Chrome?
No, all I could think of while I was watching this was with the black and white was Clerks. That's what kept popping into my brain. Now, if I had seen this film, because this is the first time I ever saw this movie, whenever I watched it the other day, had I seen this movie in 1996, I might have had a different reaction to it. But knowing what I know about Kevin Smith's movies, about his whole Viewisk universe, about all the actors in it, all I could think of was Clerks, Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I mean, you name it. That's what I was thinking about. I just kept waiting for them to stumble upon a movies. In what's her name? I can't remember the lady in that movie. But anyway, yeah. Cinematography didn't impress me. It wasn't nothing amazing.
I did see this movie in '96. I remember renting it. I was waiting for it. I heard it was coming out. Nobody else had heard of it. I was going to the video store like weekly asking, hey, did you get that new Kevin Smith? It wasn't his, he didn't direct it, but he was behind.
Right.
But I was looking for it. Drawing Fly, no, never heard of it. And then finally it showed up like months later, showed up at in Kinder, at one of those little VHS rental stores. And I bought it. I didn't buy it. I rented it. But yeah, you said it's the first time you've seen it. I saw it back then, and I was just as disappointed as the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Kevin Smith movies, because I've watched, like I said, I've watched most of them, and at the end, it's like, okay, I watched that movie, it was all right. None of them really impressed me, but I just kind of enjoy them. The last Kevin Smith movie that really blew me away was Mallrats, and that one didn't do well at all at the theaters. It didn't find life until later on, and I really enjoyed Clerks, but I saw it on VHS. I never saw it on the big screen. That's one film I would like to see on the big screen, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about all of his films. He's got Tusk. He has, I think it's called the Great North Trilogy.
I actually liked Tusk. I thought that
Tusk is a cool movie, and then the one that came after it, the where he cast his daughter and Lily Rose Depp, Yoga Hosers, where they run the convenience store, and Johnny Depp makes it a cameo in it where you really don't know it's him unless you know which character he's playing. And I'm not going to spoil that for anybody. I'm not going to say the name of that character. But Drawing Flies was nothing but nostalgia for me.
I'll tell you one thing I did like about this movie, besides the black and white aspect of it, was the poster. You want to talk about the poster?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed what they did with the poster. I liked the looks of it. It had Jason Lee's face like real big on probably half the poster. But I like the way the title, the words made the Bigfoot print, And then I like the Polaroid. They had like 4 Polaroids on the side, 3 or 4. Like the old camera, the Polaroid, they come out and you shake them and they develop. They had like 4 Polaroid pictures on the side of the poster of the cast members. And they even had Bigfoot in there walking across the woods. But I did like the poster.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I liked how he took, like you said, he took up most of the poster, and he's in black and white, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And yeah, the drawing flies looks like the foot. I like that. Um, nothing special, but it just looked cool, and I enjoyed it for some reason. Not sure why, but
So what did
you
you
know,
think about the Bigfoot costume?
ah, nothing special. I mean, and that was the intent. I mean, that was definitely the intent. I mean,
Man,
he has
to me,
the now.
Bigfoot just looked like a long-haired hippie. He didn't like, didn't look
Well,
like
and
Bigfoot.
there's kind of like there's two versions of it because there's a dream sequence one
Yeah, the dream sequence looked
that
bad.
looks more like a guy,
Right.
like a hairy guy, and then the later one is almost like Planet of the Apes gorilla suit type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna spoil this right now.
Dude, this movie's
Uh,
already spoiled.
so if you haven't seen the film, stop right now.
It's already
All
spoiled.
right.
It's drawing
Uh,
flies. It's
Jason Lee, all his friends slowly start to abandon him. Jay Muse's character gets hurt, and then there's a young lady with them named Cassidy, played by Carmen Llewellyn. She takes him out of the woods to get help because he's hurt pretty bad. And then Meg and Jake think Jason Lee's character is going insane, and eventually they abandon him. But he gets taken in by a tribe of Bigfoot creatures, and they're all sitting around a campfire, and that's which, to the film's credit, and I don't think when they wrote this movie that they even knew. Maybe they did. Maybe I'm making an assumption here, but I'm pretty sure they didn't know that a lot of Native Americans believe that Bigfoot is just another tribe. And Jason Lee's character Donner gets accepted into this Bigfoot tribe. I kind of want to know if he gets a Bigfoot name. You know, like some people get their native name or whatever. I wonder if he gets a Bigfoot name. They never tell us that.
Now, let me ask you
But
this. Do you think the character actually met Bigfoot in the tribe, or do you think it was just a big trip from his stone? He was stoned out of his mind.
I took it as he did befriend these Bigfoot creatures.
See, we're
He might have
opposite on
been
that.
high the
I
entire
thought he was
time
just stoned out of his mind the whole time, and you know, I thought this was just a
because
big drug trip at the end.
they cut back to all of his friends who are back home living their mundane lives, and he's still out in the woods
Right.
hanging out with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I think he did find Bigfoot. Maybe it was all in his head, like you're saying, but he found Bigfoot. Whether you believe him or not, he found Bigfoot, and he's in their tribe now. So yeah, I think he did find Bigfoot out there.
Well, Kendall, let me ask you, did you have a favorite scene in this movie?
If I'm being honest, no. I didn't have any favorite scene.
I had two.
If I had to pick one, it would either be Joey Lauren Adams' brief cameo,
Yeah.
because I love Joey Lauren Adams, or the whole sitting down around the campfire with Bigfoot, Donner and Bigfoot hanging out. Those would be my two favorites if I had to pick them. But honestly, no, I had zero favorite scenes in this movie. How about you? What were your two favorite scenes?
Well, I'll tell you, my two favorite scenes really had nothing to do with the movie. My favorite scene was when Jason Lee was laying on a sofa and he's watching the $6 Million Man marathon. And the episode he's on is the Bonnie Bigfoot. They never show the episode. They just, talk about, he and his girlfriend talk about the marathon going on. And, oh, that's the Bonnie Bigfoot episode, And I don't know if I ever mentioned on here, but the $6 Million Man is my favorite TV show of all time. I grew up with that, in the 70s and just loved it. That was my favorite. It's still my favorite today. Love that show. But anyway, just had nothing to do with the movie really, but that was my favorite scene. And I have one more, and it was when kind of at the beginning when they're at the party where you're talking about Joey Lauren Adams there was a guy that he had a T-shirt on that said "Film Threat," And that's an old magazine from the 90s. It was my favorite magazine back then. It was a movie magazine, kind of an underground movie film magazine, and it's called Film Threat. And man, that brought back a ton of memories for me. So much nostalgia just in seeing that one shot of the guy with that shirt pass by, I was like, what? But
But that's a token of these of the Viewisk universe films. There's pop
yeah,
culture references littered throughout them.
right. And
And
that Film Threat magazine, I remember rushing. I was in college at the time, but I would rush to the K&B Drugs once a month, digging through the magazine to see if the new one came out, and I'd buy the Film Threat magazine. It was my favorite thing. So yeah, that made me smile ear to ear when I saw that. And I tell you, man, you'd appreciate this. I've got a Film Threat magazine, and on the cover is the cast of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, and I had Jay Underwood sign it for me. But yeah, some good stuff there.
yeah, and for those of you who don't know, K&B Drugs was a drugstore basically in the South. It was based out of New Orleans. I remember that much. And they had their own line of food and liquor
beer.
and all that
K&B
you could
beer.
buy in the store. Yeah. And it was just K&B beer. That's all it was. It's K&B beer. And I'm sure the statute of limitations is well done here, but my brother, just a little side story for you guys. My brother lived in New Orleans for about 25 years, and him and his pals during Mardi Gras would rope off a section of the street, and they'd go to K&B and they'd buy cases of K&B beer, and they would sell it for a couple bucks, whatever it was, on the street during Mardi Gras. And people were so plastered that they didn't care they were drinking cheap K&B beer, and the cops would walk by and didn't check them for liquor licenses or anything because they had way bigger problems to deal with than my brother and his buddies selling beer, selling K&B beer. So yeah, man, that's another, man, nostalgia right there. You bring up K&B, and I was actually talking to someone earlier this evening before we did this recording about the K&B beer, and I told him my brother's story. So yeah,
I remember K&B. I'd go in there to buy comic books when I was a kid, and they had those. Remember the metal racks that you would spin, and it had all the pockets with the comic books.
Spinners, yeah,
yeah. But you didn't want to buy comics from K&B because everybody would ruffle them through that rack, so they were all bent.
Yep.
But you would ruffle them, see what titles were in there. But I remember that. I'd go as a kid, but I'd buy them ruffled. I didn't care if it was bent up until later, my high school years. I was really collecting them. But yeah, K&B comics always had a crease in them.
But yeah, man, this Drawing Flies was just a trip down memory lane for me. It brought back, like I said, a bunch of memories of being in college, being broke and not realizing just how broke you were, and still managing to have a good time somehow.
I'm still broke, man. Decades later, I'm still broke.
Yeah, and that will not affect my rating on the film, though. It's just nostalgia for me, but that's not going to affect my rating on the film. I'm going to do my best to give an honest rating here. Is there anything else that you want?
Come on, Crazy Cajun.
You want to go for it? All right.
Go for it,
On a scale of 1 to 10 Bigfoot tracks, with 1 being the worst Bigfoot film ever made and 10 being the greatest Bigfoot film ever made, which in my opinion is The Legend of Boggy Creek, I'm going to give 1996's Drawing Flies, starring Jason Lee, Jay Muse, Renee Humphrey, Joey Lauren Adams, Ethan Suplee, all these amazing Mallrats and Viewisk Universe actors, Bigfoot tracks. I'm giving it 1 because they made it. I'm giving Clerks. They used the Clerks camera and shot it in black and white. And I'm giving it that 3rd one just because it was okay. I mean, it's not a great movie. I'm not going to tell anybody to go out and watch this movie. If you're a Kevin Smith fan, or if you're a fan of any of the actors that I just mentioned, you might want to watch it just to complete your viewing of these actors' work. But now I'm giving it 3 Bigfoot tracks, Patrick. Something tells me you didn't give it 3 Bigfoot tracks. something tells me you gave it probably less than that.
Man,
so prove me wrong.
I'll tell you,
What did you give
Kendall, I didn't like this movie at all. I do like the fact that they decided to film it in black and white. I thought that was kind of cool. Man, I'll tell you straight up, I like Suburban Sasquatch better than this
Ooh.
film.
Ooh.
There, I said it. I mean, Suburban Sasquatch made me groan, made me laugh, made me smile. So I was entertained with Suburban Sasquatch. I wasn't entertained with this movie. I thought it was painful to get through the entire film. And like I said, I'd already seen it before, so it was really painful. But I'm going to give it a track for, being in black and white and for that reference of $6 Million Man and for me seeing that Film Threat t-shirt in it. So I'm going to give it another track for that. So 2 Bigfoot tracks is all I can give this movie, and that's stretching it.
Okay. Well, I can. Okay.
So
I mean, that's
weren't
honest.
that far apart.
No, we weren't that far apart.
Yeah.
What did you, okay, with that said, what did you think I was going to give it?
I thought you were going to give it like a 5 or a 6.
No. Nope. If I did the whole nostalgia kick, if I added that into it, then yeah, I'd probably give it a 4. I could not, with a good conscience, give it a 5 or higher. Yeah, this is a solid 3 for me. But it is kind of neat to see Jay Muse play a character that doesn't say snoochie boochies or anything like that. So, but yeah, man, that's Drawing Flies. Like we told you guys, we are going to review every Bigfoot movie out there that we can get our hands on, and this is one of them.
Yep.
If you guys want us to review a certain movie, if there's something we haven't done yet, which there are a ton of Bigfoot movies we haven't gotten to yet, but if there's one in particular that you want our opinions on, shoot us an email, reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram, message us there. If you are a filmmaker or if you acted in a Bigfoot movie and you want to talk with us, or you want to present your movie and say, hey, watch my movie, get it out there, we are more than willing to do that for you. We don't care if you think it's not a good movie or if you think it's the greatest movie. We'll review it honestly, and we'll give you your chance to have your say on it as well. If you want to come on our show, we'd love to have you on. Be sure to look for us also at conventions and festivals coming up this year, and come to our table and tell us what movies you want us to watch and review. Tell us which movies you like or hate.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, come hang out with us, talk to us. If you're just a really, really big fan of Bigfoot movies and you have a strong opinion on a certain movie that we dissed, like Drawing Flies, if you think it's the greatest movie out there, come tell us why we're wrong, and we'll talk with you. Patrick, you got anything else to add about Drawing Flies or anything like that for folks to come talk to us, whatever?
I just want to thank all of our listeners. Appreciate you, man. Especially that guy in Iceland who listens to us every month. Cool, man.
We've got a guy in Iceland,
but cool, Yeah, definitely thank the fans, man. Write us letters, man. We'll read them here. Email or something. We'll read them on the air on one of our episodes. Just wherever you are, let us know who you are, where you're from, and your favorite Bigfoot movie.
Yeah. Or if you've got a question for us and you just want to email it to us, we'll read the question on air and answer it for you to the best of our abilities.
Yep.
Don't get mad at us if you don't like the answer.
Yep.
So, Patrick, with all that being done, I want to take you back in time. We're going to hop into the DeLorean. We're going to travel back to 1996, probably somewhere in British Columbia, maybe Saskatchewan. All of our friendly Canadian friends up there have sold you some good stuff. And you're out there hiking along a trail with, Renee Humphrey, with Trish the Dish from Mallrats. I'm there with you with Joey Lauren Adams. I don't know my wife yet, so it's okay in 1996. We're out there in the woods.
And everything's black and white, right?
Everything's black and white. Yeah.
Yep.
Jay and Silent Bob are there.
Yep.
What advice would you get? What would you tell Silent Bob to do if he were out in the woods with us in Canada?
Man, I would tell Silent Bob that, especially if he's seeing everything in black and white, to watch his back, because a black and white Bigfoot is out there.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Filmsquatch. If you like the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and tell your friends about us. Make sure to like us on Facebook and join in on some of our interactive discussions. Remember, Bigfoot is out there. Watch your back.